Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai Brakathum, to the hopefully elect. And this is just real quick, man. From time to time, just I'll go out of my way to watch this guy by the name of Jordan Maxwell. He brings out a lot of useful information, so to say, which a lot of it is backed up, by the scriptures and whatnot. He does a lot of videos basically exposing the elites, going into a lot of the symbolism, and he brings out a lot of information, going into Esau. And real before I get on with this video real quick, because this video might get taken down. So what I'm going to do is, because I already got a strike on one of my channels, so like I said, they might strike this video, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and this video more than likely be uploaded on BitChute. But what I'm gonna do is, and Lord's will I get around to do it today, I'm gonna make, because as of right now, I have my main page, which would be Yawakal ibad 2. All right, because my main page got completely terminated. So as of right now, my main page is what used to be my second backup channel, which is Yawakal ibad 2, which is technically my main page right now, since my first page got completely terminated. Also have 3, 4, and 5 Yawakal ibad 3, 4, and 5, but and I believe the fourth Yawakal ibad 4th, I believe that's the page has a strike right now, so I can't upload on there for about a week. So what I'm gonna do is, because like I said, more than likely this video will get striked. I'm gonna go ahead and make a 6th backup channel, just in case. And like I said, Lord's will, I can get around to do it today. And if I do, the link will be in the description. All right, again, just in case. But yeah, with that being said, again, going into this guy Jordan Maxwell, he brings out a lot of useful information, a lot of information going into Esau, and pretty much exposing the elites that be and whatnot, And I was watching this video going into the symbolism. One of the apostles, I believe it was Apostle Gabar, he I think he mentioned this about, he suggested that brothers should watch this video going into the symbolisms. All right, I don't know if this was the video that he was talking about, but nevertheless, the spirit had it to where, I started watching it. I'm almost done with it. There's actually there might be more lessons that I do going into this particular video, but for the most part, like I said, just watching this video, man, and again, information that can be filtered through the scriptures going into Esau. All right, and more so the elites, so real quick, again, matter of fact, before I even bring out the precepts, I'm going to go ahead and just to show what he's talking about, what he's going into. Go ahead and play some of this.
Crushes any resistance.
Because the apostles often say, man, you got to know that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and bring this out. And where is it at? That's in because the apostles always say that you got to know the history to know the mystery. All right, and for a long time it was a mystery going into who basically the workers of iniquity, the prince of darkness, the man of sin, the son of perdition. For a long time it was a mystery. Who this was talking about. But again, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai, the spirit of the Lord's mouth, which are the men of the Lord, the prophets, have brought this information out. It's being exposed, and even more so, because again, you got guys like this Jordan Maxwell, and a lot of these so-called whistleblowers or whatnot, they expose Esau, but again, through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Shai, this information has been going out, and now we know, when it comes to that man of sin, who is talking about. All right, so I'm gonna get this in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and I'll start at verse 5. It says, matter of fact, verse 3. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and 3 says, let no man deceive you by any means. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come. All right, so basically, the second coming of Yahweh Shai, one of the signs, or excuse me, one of the things that had to take place before the Lord made his second return, or two things that had to take place, as well as Revelation 13, 16 and 17, the Charagma, and World War III, and a few other things, but two things that had to take place for sure before the Lord made his second return. This is what it's talking about here when it said, for that day shall not come. All right, talking about the second coming of Yahweh Shai, that it wouldn't take place until these things happen. When you read on, it says, except there come a falling away first. All right, so one thing that had to take place was the falling away, which is going into the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, because when you look in our history, the different captivities that we've been in, the Syrians, the Babylonians, Persians, and the Medes, for the most part, we actually, for the most part, knew that we were Israelites. All right, we knew that we were the children of Israel, but it's not until we came in captivity under Esau. All right, that's when you read about pretty much Esau, man. He forced his religion down our throat, and which it started with the Greeks, which were Edomites. All right, and when you read that history, and this is why the Apocrypha, all right, because when you go into that history in the Apocrypha, this is why they took those books out the Bible, man, because it goes into a lot of detail, all right, about a lot of information, and it goes into a lot of history. Like I said, apostles say, man, you got to know the history to know the mystery, because during the time of the Greeks, it started with the Greeks. You read about a lot about the Hellenization of the Israelites, the Jews, all right, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians being forced to basically accept Esau and his image, his different philosophies and things of that nature. You see, a lot of our people, they became Gentiles. They completely fell away from their heritage, from their true nationality. And these are those Gentiles that you read about in the New Testament that the Apostle Paul was preaching to. All right, those Israelites that were they became Gentiles. Israel got completely turned out by the so-called white man. All right, and it started with the Greeks. All right, so, and you see today, our people are still walking around thinking that they're African Americans, right? Our people are still walking around thinking that they're Puerto Ricans, just completely disenchanted from their true heritage. All right, because there's no history in the Bible when you go into a Puerto Rican, a Cuban, a Haitian. There's no history in the Bible. All right, when you read our history, we're the children of Israel. We come from the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, Levi, so on and so forth. That's our heritage. That's our history. All right, but again, ever since we got into captivity under the so-called white man, we completely fell away from that heritage. So, that had to take place. So that was one of a few things that had to take place, right? Again, it say, except there come a falling away first. So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, which are the real Israelites, the real Jews of the Bible, we had to be discontinued from our heritage. It tells you about that in the book of Jeremiah. I'm gonna see if I can find that real quick. Jeremiah. Jeremiah 17:4 says, "And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever." So again, we would discontinue from our heritage. All right. The Lord pretty much took his name off of us for a while, and again, we became like the heathens, like the Gentiles, the real Gentiles, the real heathens. All right. So we fell away as a people. All right. So that's one thing that had to take place. But another thing, which this is currently taking place and has been taking place for a while. All right. Which is this here. When you're going back to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, the middle of verse, or the latter of verse 3, it says, "And that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition." So this is what's currently taking place right now as we speak. All right. That son of man being revealed, the son of that's that man of sin and that son of perdition. Who is this talking about? Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right. He's been being revealed to be the devil that the Bible speaks about. All right. And when you jump down to verse 5, it says, "Remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doeth already work." Because again, it started with the Greeks, and then the Romans came into play, which were also Edomites, right? And you see, the devil, that man of sin, he was already back during that time. But again, for the most part, it was a mystery, because during that time, it wasn't more so the time for these things to be revealed. That wasn't the time for it. Now is the time that these things have been come to the light, and again, this man of sin, he's been revealed, man. He's been exposed. You see, and it's been being exposed. All right, but he was already working his iniquity back during the Roman Empire. All right. It says, "Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out the way." So, because ultimately, Yahweh Shemel Shai, because for those that don't know, Yahweh Shemel Shai, he controls both aspects. He controls the good and the evil. So he allowed these devils to get into power, to ultimately fulfill his will. And that's actually another part in this video I want to talk about. All right. Lord's will, I'll get around to it. Because he kind of touches on that as well. How they are basically ruling in the ruling God's earth. And stuff like that. Actually, like I said, Lord's will, I get around to it. Because again, the Lord allowed him. He set him up to rule in this in the earth. To fulfill his will, to fulfill the Lord's will. He allowed Esau to rule. All right. So this is how pretty much he's got everything that he's got. The Lord gave him the blessing of the sword, which goes into his modern day, guns and the military and, all that stuff. All right. That's how he's conquered everything. All right. Because he's that violent man. He just takes everything by violence, by force. And I believe he actually touches on that in this clip, part of the video that I'm going to play. But verse 8, it says, "And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth." So who's the spirit of this mouth? The spirit of the Lord's mouth is the prophets, the men of the Lord. All right. Exposing Esau on all sides, man. All right. It says, "And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming." And that's ultimately going into when Yahushua comes, who the world calls Jesus. All right. The brightness of his coming, going into when the Lord makes his second return, and ultimately he's going to take these devils out of power by force, because Esau, he's not going out, without a fight, man. He's not going out quietly in the night. All right. And the Lord wants it that way, because like I said, the Lord controls both aspects. Because when Yahushua makes his second return, these devils, they're not going to want to fight. But the Lord, to show you how badass our Lord is, man, he's going to put it in their mind, because contrary to what they teach in the society, there's no such thing as free will. All right. The Lord controls everything, from your thoughts, your act, everything. He controls it all, good and evil. So even though when the Lord makes his second return, they're not going to want to fight, but the Lord's going to put it on their mind to fight him. All right. So that meant that wicked being revealed. All right, this is the time that we're in, and this is how we know that alongside with all the other prophecies and signs that the Lord said that He would show us to let us know that He's getting ready to make His return. This for damn sure is how we know that the Lord's getting ready to make His second return, because this devil has been revealed. He's being revealed. He's being exposed. All right, to be that man of sin. All right, the son of perdition. He's that wicked that the Bible talks about, the devil that the Bible talks about. So I'm gonna go ahead and play some of this video now.
I like the word crush because that's what they do. You get in their way, they come out and beat your brains out, right?
Like I just said, he takes everything by violence. That's what he does, man. He reverts to his blessing, which is a sword, which it was given to him if you have ears to receive, because when Isaac, which again you have to have ears to receive, the Lord has to open your understanding. Isaac, that was Yahushai, all right, and he blessed Jacob and Esau, all right. When you read the history back in Genesis, all right, Isaac on his deathbed, he blessed Jacob and Esau, and a part of Esau's blessing was the blessing of the sword. So ultimately, Yahushai, because again, Isaac was Yahushai, he gave Esau the blessing, and Yahushai, he's going to be the one to take it away from him. Like I said, when the Lord comes to wreak havoc, and all right, he's going to violently, forcefully take Esau out of power. All right, it started with Yahushai giving him the blessing. It's going to end with Yahushai coming back to take it from him.
So here is a symbol of fascism. I thought I had one. Yeah, here it is. French fascism. This is the symbol for fascism. A bundle of sticks with a hatchet head. Here is another. Here's another. Incidentally, you'll always see the red shield.
Now pay attention to this, because the Apostle Gabar, he breaks it down pretty often. So just pay attention to this.
In England, the story of Robin Hood. Robin Hood comes from Robin Hood always in the movie Robin Hood, which Errol Flynn played in. At the very beginning, Errol Flynn is standing behind a red shield. He's standing here and says Robin Hood. Why?
Because real quick, man, they always portray the picture. They always paint this picture, this narrative that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, they always paint this narrative of us being hoodlums and gangbangers and deadbeats and things of that nature, when really, when you go into the history, Esau, man, he was the original deadbeat. He was the original gangbanger. He was the original hoodlum. All right, so yeah, man. Well, I was gonna read this, but let me go ahead and play some of this out.
Because the red shield is German for Rothschild. The Rothschilds of England were a German Jewish family in England who took over the Bank of England and took over 5 other banks in Europe and became known as the Rothschild banking dynasty of the world. The richest banking dynasty on earth, okay?
So,
took over 5.
It's a little history, man, going into the red shield, which pretty much goes back to the Rothschilds, right? Play that back some more.
Or Rothschild, standing behind a red shield. He's standing here and says Robin Hood. Why? Because the red shield is German for Rothschild. The Rothschilds of England were a German Jewish family in England who took over the Bank of England and took over 5 other banks in Europe and became known as the Rothschild banking dynasty of the world. The richest banking dynasty on earth, okay? Roth, shield in German. Roth is red and shield is flag or a shield. So Roth shield is red shield. And red shield, everybody in Europe knew that the Rothschild.
And again, because, this is why we refer to the so-called white man as the so-called white man, because he's not white, he's red. Again, when you read the history in Genesis, all right, he came out red, all right, because he lacks pigmentation in his skin. His blood shows forth through his skin, all right? So he's not white, because white in the Bible represents purity, perfection, righteousness, which clearly he's not, because going back to 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, he proclaims himself as God, man. He sits on the seat as he's God. as he's the, this all righteous, all pure, when he's not. And you see, this is why we refer to our people as so-called blacks. All right, because we're not black. Because when you go into the definition, when you look up what that term means, that when you say black, man, it goes into basically a void. It's associated with negativity. All right. So that's why, again, we refer to ourselves as so-called black, because we're not black. We're different shades of dark brown, from a dark chocolate brown to a light brown. We're not black. So this is why, again, we refer to ourselves as so-called blacks. All right. And we refer to Esau as a so-called white man. He's not white. All right. He's red. You see? And, it goes a lot deeper, man. When you really look into it, because he said it in the video, man. Like I said, he brings out a lot of points, and he said, man, each point, man, you can do your own type of research on it, man, and you can easily make like a 6-hour lecture off just one topic, man. Because he brings out a lot of information, But yeah, man, he's a red child, man. No pigmentation in his skin, which goes back to that mark in Cain. All right, when he killed Abel and the Lord cursed Cain, that mark being a way to identify him out of the bunch, so to say, to let everyone else know, because it wasn't just Adam and Eve, it wasn't just Cain and Abel, and when Cain slew Abel, then it was just Adam, Eve, and Cain. No, man, there was a lot of people. There was a bunch of people on the earth during that time. All right, it wasn't just when after Abel was off the scene. It wasn't just Adam, Eve, and Cain. No, there was a bunch of people, and the mark that the Lord put on Cain was to identify him, to let him know that, hey, if you touch him, if you touch Cain, because his curse was basically to be on a run, to be a fugitive. All right, which that's a pretty to be on a run, to be a fugitive, and because hey, it fits Esau today, man. All right, because hey, man, all the atrocities that he's done, the atrocities that he's committed, they're coming up they're catching up to him. And being that Esau, because again, for those that have ears to receive, Cain was Esau. All right, when you read about Cain and Abel, they came back as Jacob and Esau. All right. And just like Cain, he was on a run from the law. All right. It's the same thing today. Esau, he's on a run from the law, man. Trying to justify himself and make excuses, because again, his crimes are catching up to him, which is spiritual, because the word crime, basically going back to crimson. When you look it up, man, it goes back to red, man. And you see this devil, he's been caught red-handed, man. He's again, he's been exposed. So it all goes back to him. It all goes back to this red child, man. Esau, the son of perdition, that man of sin. It all goes back to him. You see?
That was one of the biggest murdering bunch of thieves and thugs the world's ever known. Oh, sure, they're very well.
So you see, during that time, hey, people knew that these red children, man, the red child, man, Esau, man, this red man, all right, he was a known murdering, thieving, conniving hoodlum. It was a known fact. You see, and like I said, because they try to portray us as the hoodlums and gangbangers, when all that goes back to Esau. You see this culture of our people, like in the music industry and stuff like that. They rap about killing and murdering and all that stuff. You see, that goes back to Esau. Believe it or not, that type of culture goes back to Esau, Edom. You see, and I'm gonna get that account in Genesis, but again, let me play it back just so you can hear what he said again.
If you knew that the Rothschilds were the biggest murdering bunch of thieves and thugs the world's ever known. Oh, sure, they're very wealthy and they get banks, but nonetheless, these are just high-class thugs. And so they were called hoods. And that's where we get the word hoods. They went around the world robbing, and that's why they're called Robin Hood. Robin Hood is the hood that was robbing people in the Sherwood Forest, and that's where the home of the Rothschilds was, in the Sherwood Forest, the Robin Hood, with the red shield Rothschild, and one of the symbols was the fasci, or this is a symbol for world fascism. And fascist was an authoritarian.
So yeah, that was it on that part. So yeah, man, hey, broke it down pretty, detailed with it, man. Because he was touching on pretty much the story of what's known as Robin Hood, right? Which again, pretty much goes back to Esau, the red child, the red man, and how he was going around murdering and robbing and stuff like that, man. Now all that type of culture, like I said, man, the gang banging and the hoodlums and all that goes back to Esau, Edom. And when you go back to I'm gonna go to the Genesis, the 4th chapter. Now this goes into the lineage of Cain, which, like I said, if you have ears to receive, Cain came back because actually I was going to bring this out in St. John 8:44. St. John 8:44. This is Yahushai, who the world calls Jesus. All right, Yahushai is basically cursing Israelites out, right? Because again, pretty much our people, man, they have the spirit of their daddy, all right, which is Esau, because our people really look at this man as God, man, and you see, as like the saying goes, man, I forgot how what's the saying, like father like son, you see, and pretty much like I said, our people, they have the spirit of their daddy on them, and this is who Yahushua, he was basically cursing Jake out and telling them, here was that St. John 8:44. It says, "Ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father ye will do." Because again, Yahushua, he was cursing Jake out. He was cursing Israelites out, right? It says, "He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no light, there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he is a liar and the father of it." So the original liar, the original murder, all that, who does it go back to? Cain. All right, Cain, he was the first murderer, all right, and a liar at that. All that, you see. Also let you know that Esau, again, that was Cain, man. Cain came back reincarnated as Esau, because reincarnation is in the Bible, whether you want to believe it or not. All right, reincarnation is in the Bible. Yahweh Shah himself, he had many reincarnations in the Bible. Like I said, one of those reincarnations being Isaac. If you have the ears to receive it. All right. So reincarnation is in the Bible. It exists. So again, the original murderer, the original liar, the father of it at that. All right. Gang banging hoodlum, that goes back to Cain. And you see, because again, Yahushua was telling Esau, he was telling Jake that, hey man, y'all act, just like father, like son. Because hey, Jake, like I said, they have the spirit of Esau on them. They have Esau's vibration on them. So this is pretty much Yahushua was cursing Israelites out. All right. And again, who was the original murderer and all that, it goes back to Cain, which was Esau. This is the same spirit that was in Cain. It's the same spirit that was in Esau. All right. And again, because Cain, he was cursed with that mark. All right. Leprosy, pretty much. So again, the Lord said that, part of Cain's punishment, right, he would have to pretty much, be a fugitive from the law. He would have to be on a run, which, that's a pretty harsh life to live, man. Always being on the run, looking over your shoulder, sleeping with one eye open. You see, because when the Lord cursed Cain, Cain said, when Cain received of his judgment, he told the Lord, hey, man, this is more than, I can't do this. I can't deal with this, man. This is more than I can bear. Because like I said, living that type of lifestyle, that's a harsh lifestyle to live. But nevertheless, just like with Cain, it's the same thing with Esau today. All right, a fugitive from the law, justice. All right, because again, his crimes they're catching up to him. He's caught red-handed. The red man, he's caught red-handed, man. But going back to Genesis, the 4th chapter, like I said, going into the lineage of Cain. All right, because you see, this is why Esau, he can get away with these things, because he knows that, hey, like I said before, the Lord put him in power, all right, you know, the Lord put him in power. So there's nothing that anyone can do. No other nation could come up against him, right? And he knows this. And not only that, he knows he can get away with it. And this is why he does whatever he wants. He makes all type of unjust laws and unrighteous decrees. He can do whatever the hell he wants because the Lord allowed him to. And he knows this. So going back to Genesis, the 4th chapter, like I said, when Cain, when he received that mark, all right, no one could touch him. All right, he felt invincible. And with that, it passed on down through his lineage, right? Passed on down through his lineage. Genesis 4, I'm going to, because matter of fact, Genesis 4:17, it says, and Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he built a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. Now, this isn't talking about the righteous Enoch that you read about on the right hand, all right? You know, this is pretty much an Enoch on the left hand, all right? So this isn't talking about the same Enoch that was translated, all right? I'll just read from verse 18. It says, and unto Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begot Mehujael, and Mehujael begot Methusael, and Methusael begot Lamech. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives. The name of the one was Adah, and the name of the other Zillah. And Adah bare Jabal. He was a father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handle the harp and organ. So basically a musician, right? And Zillah, she also bare Tubal Cain, and an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. And the sister of Tubal Cain was Naamah. Because I believe the word Cain itself goes back to weapon. All right, because again, now, hey, that's Esau's blessing, you know, the sword, man, you know, weaponry, you know, with the best archers. Hey, man, when you look at some videos, you look at videos on Esau, man, and how they you know, they can freaking shoot the damn fly out the air and shit, man. They you know, they can do all. They're very skilled with the weaponry and whatnot, man. The crossbow and arrow and all that stuff, because that's their blessing. All right. They can hit a target with their blindfolded. They can shoot a target with blindfolded. They can do all that because that's their blessing, the sword. All right. So they always had knowledge dealing with weaponry and things of that nature, right? Because like I said, I believe the word Cain goes back to the Hebrew word there for Cain is weaponry, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. All right, but I'm going to read verse 22 again. It says, and Zillah, she also bare Tubal Cain, and an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. And the sister of Tubal Cain was Naamah. So again, you know, being an artificer in brass and iron, again, because, you know, they're skilled with weaponry. All right, that's their blessing. It's always on Esau's spirit to, you know, be skilled with the weapons and whatnot. Verse 23, it says, and Lamech said unto his wives, Adah and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech. Hearken unto my speech, for I have slain a man to my wounding, and a man to my hurt. So basically, again, this is one of the descendants, one of the grandsons of Cain, all right, bragging to his wives about how he killed a man, all right. And again, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, that word speech, because not only did Lamech brag about killing the man, he basically made to put it in modern terms, a rap song about it. Because like I said, this whole culture of bragging about killing niggas and shooting niggas and you know committing adultery and all that goes back to Cain, man. And you see Lamech, he basically made to put it in modern terms, he basically made a rap song about killing niggas and, you know, stuff like that, man. You know, that thug life, that all goes back to the red man. You know, this crimson man, this red man. You know, it all goes back to him. And he's bragging about it because he knows he can get away with it. You see Lamech, he bragged about it because he knew he can get away with it. Why? Because, again, the curse of Cain, if anyone touched him, then, hey, the Lord said he would, if anyone touched Cain, then anyone that touched Cain, they would pretty much receive a sevenfold, man. You're going to get 7 times as worse. All right. So with that being said, hey, Cain knew that he can get away with this crime. All right. Crimson man knew he can get away with his crimes. All right. because he's invincible. Nobody can touch him, and that's how the Lord set it up. Matter of fact, when you read verse 24, it says, if Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and 70-fold. So you see, he's bragging about getting away with killing, commit murder because he can get away with it, because nobody can touch them. They're untouchable, right? But it's only going to be so, very short-lived, man, because hey, their time is coming to an end. The scriptures are going to until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. They have a time to rule. They're not going to be ruling forever. They think that they're going to rule forever, but they're not going to rule forever. You see? So again, it's like I said, it's the same thing today, man. Esau, he knows he can get away with it because, hey, the Lord put him in power, all right? And nobody can touch him. Nobody can take him out of power until his time is fulfilled. The scriptures are going to how there's a boundary that's set. And once he sets that boundary, once he crosses that boundary, not a millisecond is he going to be able to rule anymore, man. He's not going to be able to cross that boundary. All right. And we're coming to the end of that bound that the Lord set, man. So, hey, Esau, he's about to get taken out of power. But nevertheless, again, before these things take place, he has to be exposed. All right. But I just wanted to just show the point, going back to the red man. This man of sin. All right, this crimson man. All crime goes back to this man. And like I said, all this thug life and hoodlum and all that type of lifestyle that they portray, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, that goes back to these. It goes back to these devils. They're the original gang banging thug hoodlums. Bragging about killing niggas and robbing, thieving. All that shit goes back to Esau, man. So Lord's will, man, this is edifying. Lord's will, more to come. Giving all praises to Yahweh Shema Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Yahweh Shema Shai, Brakathum to the hopefully elect. Lord's will, until next time, Shalom.